Now we have talked about reflection, we have talked about images, we have talked about mirrors. Now let us come to some practical things like when we stand in front of a mirror, we see ourselves. Now if we keep on moving towards the mirror, then we see that our image also starts to get larger in size, and while we go back from the mirror, then we see that our image starts to shrink. So what actually happens? How can we find that where we stand, and how can we find that where the image of ourselves are formed? We can do this by some diagrams that we'll do today. Okay, now talking about reflection, images and mirrors, so we have to now identify where we can form the images. Like if we stand in front of a plain mirror, we can see ourselves in the mirror, but if we start walking towards the mirror, then that image starts to get larger, while if we come back, if we retreat, then we see that our image starts to shrink. Now how to know that whether an object placed at certain distance can be forming an image at what distance? So for that we have two categories, the concave mirror and the convex mirror. So for concave mirror we have 6 cases, while that for convex mirror we have 2 cases. Let us now start with concave method. Concave mirror, there are 6 cases. The first one, we will place the object at certain distance where we can say that the object is at infinity. Now what is actually infinity? See, in previous class we have learned that the stars are at infinity, but no, in this case we will not be saying that these are infinity. Some points which are, suppose this is a source object from where light rays are coming out. So if we take a small portion of these diverging lines, we can consider them as to be parallel. So we will consider a distant object to be at infinity. Now let's see what happens. So this is my principal axis, this is my pole, focus and center of curvature. Now if this is one of the parallel rays, remember that at least one incident ray must be parallel to the principal axis. After being parallel and after reflection, this has to pass through focus, which is actually the basic definition of focus, and the other one, which is also parallel after reflection, comes through F. Remember one thing, that we must have to give these arrow symbols to denote the direction. So they are intersecting at this point F, and the point where two rays after reflection or whatever they intersect, that is the point of the image. So here the image is formed where? The image is formed at F. Now since they have actually met at some point, so this is a real image. And the most important thing is that the images that are real, they are also inverted. So this is a real inverted image, and the size is too small. It's called highly diminished, or we also call it point image. Now it's very evident that whenever we see a certain object at a very far distance, even a 7-foot tall person also seems to be like this much. So this becomes highly diminished. This is the reason why we see so small objects, which are actually bigger objects at this place. Next we bring the object a bit nearer to the mirror, somewhere beyond C. Beyond C. This is the mirror, this is principal axis, pole, focus and center. So if this is my object, then one of the rays must come parallel and reflect out to the focus. Now the other one we have to take in such a way that they form a justified image. Many rays are coming out. Out of that, one incident ray will pass through the center of curvature. Now the line joining the center to the arc of the bigger circle, it's a radius, and radius is always perpendicular to that point of intersection. So we can say that this incident ray was incident at an angle of 90 degree. So it will reflect out at the angle of 90 degree. That means it will retrace itself. If it retraces itself, then this is the situation and the image formed is here. So the image is formed between C and F. We can see that they have met originally, so it's real. And C, the object was upright and now the image is downward. So we can say real inverted. All real images are always inverted. And it's a bit smaller than the object, so we'll write diminished. Next we take the object a bit closer, more to the position at C. We will place it at C. So what happens is that we take the mirror, this is the opaque part, this is pole, focus, center. If we place it there, it should be midway. So if this is the object, one goes parallel, after reflection must pass through focus. In this case, what happens is that we cannot take the second ray through C because it's already on C, and if we take it through C, this will go down without reflecting. We don't have the reflected ray to intersect the first reflected ray. So what we will do, we will take the reverse of this case, that a parallel ray goes and comes out through focus. In this case, we will say that one of the rays goes through focus. After reflection, it forms image here. So the interesting part here is that the object was at C and the image is also at C. It's a bit bent, sorry for that. So the image is at C, and we can surely say that it's real and inverted. One more thing that we should look into this is that both the object and the images are of same size. So these are the first three cases. From there we can just conclude one thing: if the object is at infinity, then the image is at F. The more we bring it closer, like beyond C, so it forms between C and F, and at C this becomes at C. So now let us talk about the other three cases. Coming to the fourth case, we will place it somewhere between C and F. So this is the mirror, this is my pole, focus and center of curvature. We'll place it there. It goes parallel, first one comes out through focus. The other one will align along the direction of center of curvature and then retrace. So they will meet somewhere very near, not that far. So the image is ultimately formed beyond C. So image beyond C, obviously it's going to be real inverted. They are going to meet, these are converging lines, and it will be magnified. See, the object is this much and they are going to meet at least at this plus this much space, so it's magnified. Now if we take it further closer, like at F, so if we take it at F, what happens? So this is my pole, focus, center of curvature. One goes parallel, after reflection comes out through F. The other one goes parallel along C and retraces out. These two reflected lines are now parallel, so we do not know where they are going to meet, but we can assume that they can meet at infinity. So we will write that the image infinity. And since it's going to be an inverted image, so reals are inverted, inverteds are real. So it's going to be a real inverted image and highly magnified. Highly magnified. Now let us come to the last part, between F and P. This is the pole, focus, center of curvature. Let me place it there. Now one of them will go parallel, and come out to F. The other one will align towards the center of curvature and then retrace out. These two reflected rays are actually divergent, so they are not going to meet. In that case, we are going to extend them backwards. So it seems that they have met somewhere, they have intersected somewhere behind the mirror. So in this case, the image is formed behind the mirror. In this case, since they have not met together, so we will say that this is a virtual image. One more interesting fact, the object is upright, the image is also upright, so this becomes erect. So the most important thing here, we get that real images are always inverted and virtual images are always erect. Now we can surely see that the object is smaller than the image, so we can say that it's magnified. So what are the things that we conclude? First we conclude the position of the image, then we conclude the nature of the image, and then the magnification or size of the image. Let us add them to the conclusion. So between C and F, the image was formed beyond C, and if the object was at F, the image was formed at infinity. And the odd one out, between F and P, so it was behind the mirror. One thing we can see here, we can easily relate to, is that when it was at infinity, the object, then the image was at F. Now when the object was at F, the image was at infinity. Reciprocal. When the object was beyond C, image was between C and F. And see here, when the object was between C and F, the image was between C, and when it was at C, the object and the image was also at C. And this is the odd one out, between F and P. This gives a virtual image. So this is the cases. These are the cases of concave mirror. Now let us take a look at convex mirror. So convex mirror. Unlike concave mirror, convex mirror has only two cases. One, when the object is at infinity. This time the outer surface is reflecting, but since the curve is to the right, so my focus and center of curvature would be to the right. This is my pole. Suppose two rays are coming from infinity. Now this time they cannot just go through focus because it's a reflecting surface, they cannot get in. So what these rays are going to do after striking, they are going to align themselves with the focus and then reflect out. They are going to align and reflect. So virtually they are meeting at F. We will say that the image is at F. Surely it is virtual. They are not actually intersecting. Virtuals are always erect and highly diminished, or we can say point object. So the second case is near P. For a convex mirror, any point apart from the infinity is near P, whether it is here or there or there. So this is my F, this is my C. Let us take an object here. So one of them will go one of the rays is parallel. It's going to align and reflect out, while the other one will align along the center of curvature and then retrace back. So the object there forms an image here behind the mirror between E and F, and this is also a virtual image, and you can see it's erect, and see the size of the object, see the size of the image, it's a bit diminished. So these are the two cases of convex mirror. Next we will discuss in the next class that about reflection.